In fact, I should thank Joseph Brito. I think he's also attending the session. Joseph Brito actually sent me a YouTube things, and then that sparked some interest in me. It was telling that why this present Modi 3.0 government, how they have fared, and then what are the challenges ahead. And there was actually a panel discussion. So then I also was chatting with Brito, and then I said, okay, we'll make this itself as a topic for the present session, and then how should we respond? Okay, so before I just go ahead, I'll just flag off certain issues for you. Okay, friends. Yeah. See now, there is a see now I'll flag issue by issue, and then time is very short, and I may be very fast. So I think you should bear with me, because this is not a 10 standard presentation. It's a bit higher presentation. There's an export ban. There's an import tariff. Okay, so and many times the local prices are very high. For example, what happened in case of the silk imports long back, or the cardamom imports from Brazil long back, when the local prices in Kerala were shot up, and then especially the loom weavers in Bangalore, the silk weavers were facing a lot of issue because the local silk prices was very high, and then we imported silk from China. So then there are other issues like one district, one product, and crop zoning. Okay, then weather insurance. Weather insurance normally is cut only when you take a loan. Okay, then we have the genetically modified productivity going down. And there are so many myths about doubling farmers. And kindly bear with me that, I'm not blaming X or Y or Z government, and I'm not even going to say that, the wooing policies and then making free buses and all. I'm not going into which government is doing that, but I'm only telling you that the rural incomes are reducing. Okay. The Praveen Rao committee report puts the farmers' income at least around 6,400 rupees per month, with an average whatever land holding and crops. But now the present topic today, see, you will be aghast. The rural voting has come down for the in this particular election. The rural voters, about 44 of them, we got lesser seats for the existing government, and then there was a dissection, and then people did surgery, and they were analyzing why this rural people are not voting for the government, and why there's a small shift. I don't even want to tell that where they shifted and all those things, India and all those things. So kindly bear with me, because I'm a Government of India person, and I don't want to take any political names as well, but I'll flag the issue for you. So there was a decrease in the voting percentage in rural areas, and I myself was inspired by the CNBC talk. I will be sharing the YouTube link with you. You can actually go down. And then I will also discussing with many of my friends who are eminent economists, so many friends. And even today, some lobbies continue to export in spite of local demand and prices being very high. And some unhealthy practices and scams may be there as a singularity here and there. And what should the present, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the agriculture minister, and his people should be doing for the next 5 years? How are you going to manage the farm distress? And how are you going to avoid the protest? And how vigilant you can be to protect the MSP? I think I have set the session objectives now. So now look at the key concerns. So inflation, food inflation is very high. Okay, therefore there was an export ban in rice. Okay, there's a slowdown in consumption, a lot of unemployment in the rural areas. So this has affected the voting pattern, lower voting in Maharashtra, Haryana, and Punjab. Then there's an increased investments, and there is a need for increased investment, reforms, technology, and more. The roadmap for farmer welfare and more. What are the things? So these are the excerpts, and of course, not only these three economists, but I've taken my own economists, my own experience. I tried to integrate in this particular talk. So you can see Manisha Gupta from CNBC there. Siraj Hussain was a former agriculture secretary. Devinder Sharma was an agri expert. I'll share the video. You can go through it. Atul Chaturvedi represents the industry from Sri Renuka Sugars. But, this particular voting pattern, which was only in Maharashtra, Haryana, and Punjab, this is called the reverse voting swing for the NDA presently. But the same thing did not happen in Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. Already the new government is going to take place in Odisha, and Madhya Pradesh were also happy, for which Shivraj Singh Chauhan has been given the agri minister. It's a very great move, I can say. He's a very great player. So now, what really irked the farmers? The export ban must have irked the farmers. Then wheat and rice growing farmers, okay, they put export ban, and the NFSM, the National Food Security Mission, can absorb only 80 million metric tons of rice or wheat to put it in our FCCI godowns. And then the sugar industry was hurt a lot. And, the farm gate prices, and, when you take a sugar cane to the sugar mills, they reject it because of, less sugar content and so on. So ultimately what happened was the farmer's income is not increasing. The food inflation is very high, and the expenditure on health is also increasing even in the rural areas. See, earlier there was a myth that the rural area people are very healthy, they don't have BP sugar, but that is not the question, and the health is also a big concern in the rural areas. So maybe the farmers are getting irked, and then this sort of a voting pattern. Then obviously the concerns are that in the agri sector and the rural sector, which we are talking today, the challenges for the present government are, earlier we have failed to achieve the target of doubling farmers' income, which was supposed to be by 2021. And then the farmers' debts are continuously increasing. See, because, the cost of cultivation is increasing, and thereby everything is increasing. You don't get a labor less than 300 rupees. And, the women and the men labor are on par. Even in the MG Narega, they come and put the attendance, and, the labor is a pampered class today. So look at the mustard. For example, mustard sells below the MSP. See, suppose, in Bajra, the MSP is 2,100. So I had a project of the FPOs in Koppal. I was doing this project with IFCO. To my surprise, most of the products are selling less than the MSP. So don't you think it's a concern? It's a distress for the farmers, and you can't do what else you can do. So the government has to look into it, how to defend the MSP. See, yesterday our Indian cricket team, they defended the total, and we came out in flying colors. So everywhere, when a policy is made, when an MSP is made, see, I am an agriculture extension guy. I always keep thinking how these policies can be converted to extension strategies, and how I can bring satisfaction among the farmers, which is also called as positivism. Okay, we also call it as liberalism. Liberalism is a psychological phenomena to bring positive attitudes in the technology. So that's where I come, because I'm a principal scientist at IIHR. So it is my duty to develop the positive attitudes for the farmers. So when this is the case, there are poor yields, fluctuating commodity prices. Okay. So who has to be in the opposition in 2029? Okay, the one who can answer these questions will be definitely winning the next election as well. So now there are some big agri sector. What does it expect? So there should be an increase in investment and reforms at state level. Obviously, the APMC and the other reforms where the farm laws are withdrawn. So it can come out with a new avatar of the farm laws. So it can increase the agri infrastructure and so on. Post-harvest value addition is another area. There is a separate minister of state for this particular sector. Okay, and especially there were losses at Muzaffarnagar, a major sugarcane belt. It also faced loss in the Maharashtra's onion growing belt. See, because onion export is banned, and then rice export is banned, and then the sugar cane industry, or the sugar industry, when farmers take the cane to the factories, they're rejected. So then, obviously, I told you the Praveen Rao committee report just put the farmers' income at around 6,400 rupees per month. The farm incomes are at the bottom of the pyramid. See, when a small, taxi driver can get about 15 to 20,000 rupees, the farmers, even with an average 3 to 4 acres, are getting things. The urban incomes are very high. I need not feel jealous or envious about them, and that's definitely not the concern of my discussion today. So, the farmer protest between 2021, and then there were many rhetorics and narratives for that, and it is a whatever, I don't want to discuss. New farm law was seen as an attempt to privatize agriculture and then give a boost. So nothing came out, and it was withdrawn, and the Indian farmer is incurring continuous losses year on year. Okay. So obviously, you know that about 2 years back in February, Haryana farmers marched to Delhi very recently. And, many of our mango melas were cancelled. We were supposed to go to Delhi from IAHR. So we could not do it. In the UP West, farmers are protesting on the Delhi East border. So now let me flag off certain issues. Farmer is a producer and consumer, but he does not have the disposable income to go into the Pura. Pura means what? What Abdul Kalam was saying, providing urban amenities in the rural areas. Everybody wants health, health, education, and income, which is really not coming in the rural areas. Therefore, there's a lot of out-migration and less of in-migration. So the demand of consumption is very inelastic in rural area, and this is also true with the agri inputs and outputs. Okay, just because the price of agri inputs reduce, you cannot stock 200 bags of urea, or you cannot buy 200 bottles of pesticide. Similarly, on the output front, just because the tomato prices crash to 5 rupees, you will not have 50 quintals of tomato in your house. So how to rise the farm income? So you can balance the export-import policy. Either you lift the rice export ban, because China is the #1 importer of rice today because of the poultry industry. And then, of course, if you don't lift the ban, farmers don't get prices. But at the same time, if you don't ban export, the local prices of rice will shoot up, and then you have a problem with the food security. And of course, nutritional security, we are already low. Then, there is a Swaminathan committee with recommendation on farmers' income. So that has to yet to take, that's still in the dream level, and it should come to the real level. So I told you about the 6,400 rupees per income, the Praveen Rao committee report. Praveen Rao was the vice chancellor of the Professor Jaishankar Telangana State Agriculture University next to our north. So that is called the Praveen Rao committee report. You can actually Google out and see it. So then how this MSP case should be defined, and then how to protect this MSP and how to defend it by any government. So MSP is the comprehensive cost of cultivation plus 50% profit when you put it. This is what the Swaminathan committee says. The burden is only 22,000 crores per year. It's not much. And please don't think, and we have this apprehension that exposing farmers to market will increase their income. I'm sorry, we have to insulate them. You will make the farmers more vulnerable. Even in US, Europe, farmers are insulated, even in Japan, everywhere. But here, whenever we talk of privatization of agriculture, new farm reforms, okay, every big, the capital, in economists, we have 2-3 people. We have the capitalist economists, we have the socialist economists, and we have a mixed economist and some extension scientists like me. So the capitalist economists were all Adam Smith's chelas. So they say, no, so much of, subsidy is a burden, and helping them is a burden. And, all those things they told. I'm not very sure how it works. But let us stick to the thing, what the government should do. So now, the budget, see, for example, for agriculture, 1.25 lakh crores has been given for the agriculture. Okay, out of the 48 lakh crore budget. So that means what? Out of this 1.25 lakh, 60,000 crore is going to PM Kisan Nidhi. Yesterday, Modi ji signed that document. I think you all saw on the TV. So only 75,000 crore is left out. So, for example, the farmers are 50% of the population, which comes to 700 million. So even if you go by the Atalji's statement in 1996 in the 13-day government, he said, see, suppose if farmers are 50%, 50% budget should go to the farmers. Anyway, we will discuss the feasibility of this. I was actually WhatsApping to all my economists in the morning because this was a very crucial topic for me and agriinformation.com as well. And then Joseph Brito sent me that YouTube. It was really triggering because normally I don't prepare so much for a lecture, but today was quite challenging. Thanks, agriinformation.com. So now Vajpayee in 1996 promised that around 60% budget will go to 60% rural people. So I was asking my economist friend, Dr. Kondapi Srinivas, he works at NAM, and then he tweeted and he sent me a message. I'll tell you. Okay, this is how the Atalji's theory should be applied. If 50% on the population is 700 million, give 50% or 60% to the farmers. But there's a lot of fluctuation in commodity prices. Then, another question even Atalji used to ask, should farmers be left at the mercy of the market forces? Okay, or there was another question in that NDA 1.0 government, when the Vajpayee government, whether you want going to defend MSP or you are going to leave them to the market or create a market ecosystem. See, today, the DBT, the direct benefit transfer on one side, which some proponents are doing, and then creating a market ecosystem to have the market reforms with ENAM, okay, then REMS, regulated electronic market. But none of these things are increasing the income. So even I have discussion with my economist friends. Then what is required, as Vajpayee was saying, was you require a commercial intelligence versus market intelligence. See, market intelligence, what does it say? It says, okay, suppose you put a crop now in Kharif, and in under 3 months, what could be the lady's finger price, about 12 rupees in the Otanachatram market in very near Coimbatore. So this is market intelligence, but I don't want that. I want a commercial intelligence in the sense, say, suppose I am a farmer, either you defend my MSP, or you get me the cost of cultivation, or get me the DBT, or go with the Praveen Rao committee report and do something. You can't make me vulnerable. See, when you are giving a tax holiday for the software industry, when you are giving so many softs for the big and heavy metal industries, so luckily, Mr. Kumar Swamy from Karnataka is our heavy industries minister. So how should we go about? See, now, for example, India is the number one importer of palm oil from Malaysia, okay, and all Singapore and that countries. So the edible oil import duty should be tweaked to encourage local commodities also get their export. See, we have so much of soybean and soybean oil, and then we also produce palm oil. For example, Andhra Pradesh is the number one palm oil producer. But in spite of that, we import. So then how to jack up the prices or tweak the import duties so that even our local palm oil producers, palm oil in Pedavegi and in that part of coastal Andhra will also get a good thing. So therefore, the issues, when I continue, we can quickly say that we don't have an ecosystem to buy all the pulses produced inside. So ensure MSP, how are we going to do it? And to our dismay and our surprise, the productivity of the genetically modified mustard is still very apprehensive. Therefore, people think that importing oil from Malaysia, especially palm oil or some other oil from other countries, is cheaper. So indirectly or directly, we are consuming more GM edible oil because the cattle is fed with the GM cotton seed and all those things. So our milk is also GM. So where is the apprehensive and concern? So what we wish is, I'm not in the agri ministry, but I'm a part of the agri ministry because I'm only a principal scientist of the ICR system. So therefore, farmer welfare roadmap with timeline for under 5 years. These are some of the challenges for Shivraj Singh Saab. Then pushing for technology and higher yields. Obviously, the ICR and agriculture universities are also doing, and from the extension system, we have already trained all our farmer producer organizations. Okay, they are also doing sustainable and organic farming. Of course, my friend Dr. Ranjit Kumar works on the zero-based natural farming, whether this could be an alternative, but only the apprehension is you should not go the Sri Lanka way and then get doomed. So, and we should have both going in parallel. And at the same time, I also discussed with my economics friends whether the organic products and the ZBNF products are fetching a premium price. To my surprise, it is not. They get the same price. So then, climate-resistant agri systems, especially we have the NICRA project of the ICR, National Initiative for the Climate Resilient Agriculture, and then a lot of funds we get from the CSR from corporates. Wipro is one, and BL, we got the digital agri-horti project. And a lot of research is also going on in this direction. So I don't know whether you can avoid export ban, or can you avoid this onion and rice export ban which are presently there? Are you sending wrong signals by banning the exports and not allowing the farmer to fetch their realistic prices? So what is required is a sustainable policy, a good import policy. So there are a top 5-point agenda here. Okay, obviously the first one should be to create more non-farm jobs, which is not coming. More of the jobs are only urban in nature. I find a lot of out-migration. People come here even for a menial, housemaid job. So in each house, they get 3,000 rupees. My maid servant works in 4 houses. Okay, 3 4s are 12,000 rupees, she can do it. But even if a farmer puts all his efforts, I told you about the Praveen Rao committee report, you have to increase it beyond 6,000. There are so many labor intensive sectors, okay, where they can be meaningfully employed. Obviously, earlier we had the JRY, Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, and of course the MG Narega is still there, but with a guaranteed 100 days of employment. So now, some of the issues for the new government is increase in investment and reforms at the state level, not just at the central level. Especially post-harvest value addition is an important area. I told you there's a dedicated Minister of State for this. And then sustainable and organic farming systems, ZBNF, and so on and so forth. And obviously guaranteeing a premium price. See, of course, every vegetable and fruits do not have the MSP, but they may have a MIS, okay, market intervention scheme, where if it is an organically grown with so much of opportunity cost and opportunity incomes getting lost, you should give him a better price. Then climate resilient agri system, we've already discussed. CSR, we've already discussed. So now, what are the challenges for the new government? Okay, you should protect MSP at any cost. Although I have also seen it physically in many of the APMC, ENAMs and all that, many times most of the commodities, they are sold below the MSP. Is it arm twisting tactics, or is it the distress bargaining, or it is the Arthias who are playing the game, or my friends calls it as the policy, what is it? That slide will come next. They're called policy negotiators or whatever. Anyway, we'll do. Importing commodities and adjusting the tariff so that always the local prices, okay, the fetching price should be high and farmers can be encouraged to sell in the local market, okay, rather than exporting. Of course, exporting option. Okay, then what do you do with all the surplus commodities like rice? Lift the ban on the export, put more to China, okay, and then, let their poultry industry flourish, and we also get some money out of it. Then minimum guarantee price for farmers, crop diversity, we have already told. The sugar industry is hurt the moment you take the cane there, 18-month cane or a 16-month cane. If it does not have 10-degree bricks of sugar, you don't get it. So obviously, one zone, one district, one product, Vodop, crop zoning. This came out even with the Praveen Rao committee report long back, that, you should identify certain crop zones as tomato zone, sugarcane belt, cardamom zone, and so on and so forth. Then obviously there's another claim which my economist friends have been flagging. The non-irrigated areas, farmers should get higher MSP because their yields are abysmally low. So you have to allocate judiciously. These are some of the challenges for the NDA 3.0. Then there are a lot of impact on agri reforms and farmer welfare schemes. It can be crop insurance, weather insurance. Okay, it can be MSP, it can be MIS. So then, see, the monsoon has approached. Of course, I don't blame the 3.0 government. Just now they have taken over. The MSP announcement is very awaited. You announce an MSP so that, they may take another one more week to sow. The sowing have not yet started. So suppose if I'm a farmer, I'll wait for the MSP and decide whether I will grow rice or mustard or whatever. Okay, I don't know. But so therefore, the issue which is flagged off here is the MSP must be announced very well in advance. Of course, this time you please excuse them because the government was just formed on the 7th, whatever. So you be aware. So poor yields and fluctuating commodity prices, there's a lot of volatility in the prices. I can say, especially in horticulture, 354 million metric tons. And then in agri also hovering around 350. There is a glut sort of situation because of lack of value addition. Let me be very frank with you. People are afraid to grow. They don't get their cost of cultivation. No, I don't know, because, I don't know what the agri ministry will do and what my agri economists will do, what the various things. You have to design certain game theory. Why market price is below MSP? Or you should all be anybody, whether private, government, or NFSM or whatever. Of course, they all give you correct MSP, or you give some subsidy. There is an input subsidy, there is an output subsidy. Okay, you protect that MSP. Then the Atalji's theory of 60% budget to 60% population. I don't know, my friends have different opinion. Arey bhai, when mobile phone prices, 5G and real estate prices are increasing, you don't protest. But when farmers have to get a good gate price, you bargain there. See, this time, in spite of the mango decreased yield because of alternate pairing, still mangoes are available everywhere. Excellent mangoes, I can tell you. This year, the mangoes were much better than the last year. Prices are also very, very meaningful. And, here also I'm telling, I always gave, even in the last class, that Kesar Alfonso mango sells at 300 rupees in the Bangalore market. If you go 300 kilometers from here, in the Koppal market, it is just sold at 100. So there is no value addition required. It is only a time value addition and a place value addition. Try to give them a small, a shop or some outlet, whether at IAHR or at UAS or so many government establishments and government organizations and lands are available. Why don't you put a stall free of cost and give some subsidies that, so that, the entire Bangalore gets the mangoes. And why should these mango growers be on the Nelmangla highway and then catch hold of all the people who are traveling to buy the mangoes? Therefore, I feel that farmers need to be pulled up and supported with other sectors, and don't cry. Okay, so obviously, I'll be going very quickly. Okay, Dhanlakshmi, tell me when my time is up. Okay, one is you have to defend your MSP, the MIS in place, climate insurance. See, there's another issue of ease of doing farming. Even today, many farmers don't pay the insurance unless if they take a crop loan. When you take a crop loan, the weather insurance is automatically, the premium is cut. And the ease of doing agri business is very, very difficult. Okay. And 50% and 60% in the rural areas, I was making a presentation in NAM. I said, we have to urgently, displace these people from the rural areas and, promote them like Super 30 of Bihar or something. If somebody is very good in software or engineering, let him migrate outside and look for better productive jobs. See, and obviously, when you come to the genetically modified crops, whether it is soya, mustard, or something, productivity is very low because of a lot of, protests, Vandana Shivas, and so many people saying GM is bad, that is very bad. So I don't agree. See, when something is going to give a higher income, you have to take those technologies with a pinch of salt and other support. See, for example, 12 million hectares of soya bean gives only 11 to 12 million tons. But actually, you should be getting something around 40 million tons. I'm not saying GM is the only answer. Kindly don't say that I am a GM proponent. So therefore, this will be taken care by the Indian Institute of Soybean Research at Indore, and our ICR system is already on the job. So I'll just have a... So why not higher MSP for soybean? Why not higher MSP for mustard? Because these are all our edible oil crops. And why import a lot of palm oil? Because that oil is the one which is used by the poorer sectors. So people use only this oil in the roadside when you eat samosas and jalebis. So we also say tone down the urban buyers. Don't ban ethanol production from molasses or whatever. Of course, people will say that people are becoming drunkards, and we should put a ban on ethanol and then put a ban on, do all that. Who told ethanol should be only drank as a liquor? There are so many other industrial applications. So you should have a very sharp commercial policy to defend and see that the farmers are protected in the coming 3.0 government. So now this is the YouTube I've shared, and she will be giving it. So there are so many things for Shivraj sir, our new agri minister, sir. Don't ban anything, allow free flow of technology. So of course your ministry are very intelligent. We'll be devising a game theory. We'll be defending the MSP. So instead of putting all the money in only developing the market ecosystem of agri, you can also think of a lot of DBT. It is not very alien. And, Atalji told it way back in 1996. And today the other mediocres are improving their position based on this catch. And obviously yesterday, Modi ji signed the first file on DBT. Okay. And of course, you should not go on telling, okay, if you give direct benefit transfer, okay, people will consume alcohol. See, that is a very wrong way of looking at it. This is what my friend Dr. Kondapi Srinivas has sent me the message with due acknowledgement to him. I'm making the statement. So the Atalji theory we have already told. Again, Dr. Kondapi was discussing in the morning. He's actually an economist. So he says 60% budget giving to 60% of rural India is not feasible. That's one opinion, because we have to see the returns on investment on both sides. Maybe the second priority, Kondapi says, is providing urban facilities in the rural area so that the out migration is going to decrease and people will have more value addition jobs in agri in rural area itself. So obviously, the present government is also focusing on three areas. Of course, the agri ministry is already on the job, both the MOS and the cabinet. Okay, how to bring the remunerative prices for farmers by reforming the existing marketing structure. Obviously, ENAM is in place, REMS is in place. Okay, we had that new farm laws. Maybe it will come back in a different avatar. So obviously, rising productivity is one of the concerns, in which ICR and agriculture universities and KVK have been, and the entire National Agriculture Research Extension System is doing a very wonderful job. Then reforming agriculture policies. Of course, we have an NCAP, National Center for Agriculture Policy Research, right there sitting at Delhi. Okay, they also keep rolling. Then IFPRI is another thing where a lot of the scientists are working both India and abroad. So they also keep thinking that how in the South Asia, Pacific and all, what things could be done, especially for India. This is another thing going on. So now they say policy entrepreneur. This is what my friend Dr. Krishnan sent it. So with his due credit, I said I'll be using this in one of the slides. And then, Dr. Kondapi told, in Hindi, we call them as dalals. So obviously, just like you have a Prashant Kishore or you had a Pandian for as a political entrepreneur, you can have a policy entrepreneur. I don't know from where they will come, whether from Punjab, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, where they will come. So they have to influence the policy making for the agri ministry, and then in a single window, okay, whether it is resource availability, okay, how to build opinions, how to motivate, or what other interest groups. Already we have the commodity interest group, we have the farmer producer organization. Then what is the institutional stance of the various state government? Of course, in center you have a different government, in state you have a different government. And then, they say agriculture is a state subject. So how this unison and convergence and coherence is to be brought about is yet to be seen. So thanks to Dr. Krishnan, who sent me this particular visual. And then, so obviously the government is also thinking, my friend sent it, is considering allowing the import, okay, GM corn imports and lower duty. See, obviously, see what will happen is when you export everything, there is a domestic demand is higher, prices get jacked up. And then, for example, I told you the silk example long back, I think about 10, 15 years back, our silk weavers in Bangalore were affected because the local silk prices were very high, and then we had to import silk from China. So all these games, of course, even what's her name, Tamanna Chaturvedi was telling me that, you have to play with some of this import-export policies to bridge the supply deficit and so on. Again, thanks to Dr. Kondapi here for giving me this slide. So food inflation continues. Okay, it's 11.5. And then, see, sometimes we also say that if the food inflation is higher, the producers get a better price. And therefore, by banning the rice export, you are indirectly helping the local producers of rice to get a higher price, but it is not guaranteed. So therefore, the government has to do something and defend this particular score. Okay, so all these things you have already known. So I told you, Directorate General of Foreign Trade will work on this global prices, how to cut the imports or enhance import. So, for example, we import a lot of timber from Malaysia, formalin. I told you all those things. So don't kindly, tell like a NGO activist and say that, oh, import is very bad, Swavlamban Bharat, and therefore everything should be produced here. But you should also see the consumers on the other side, not just the producer. So anyway, it is my friend Dr. Dastagiri used to tell at NAM. So you should devise a game theory, to control many of these forces and not just leave farmers to the market forces, increase the vulnerability. So obviously all these things, We are the largest exporter of rice, and our basmati rice is a premium, especially we have the Pusa basmati coming from the ICR system. Dr. Mahapatra was the breeder of that. So be very proud that we have technologies which make money. We have technologies which can totally turn around the Indian economy in agriculture sector. Be very, very proud, both in horticulture and other things. But what is required is a game theory, a policy entrepreneur, like what Dr. Krishnan said, and then, working very, very closely and confidently with, and very trickily with this particular matrix. So anyway, this is how we are one of the best rice in the world. Basmati, we have already told. And obviously, when it comes to rice production, West Bengal is the largest rice producing state, a very highly quality things. Of course, Andhra Pradesh is called the rice bowl of India because of extensive cultivation and high quality of the rice seed. But the largest rice producing area when it comes is in West Bengal. So anyway, India will expand, diversify its agri-export basket. That's what Director APIDA, K Parasram Party is saying. Then obviously imports, I've already told you about palm oil and all those things. And thank you very much. So, okay, I will quickly step down and then I will open it for discussion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the question.
I'll stop sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Whether Joseph is there in the session, Brito is there?
I don't know, sir. He has not come.
Because he was the one who triggered this topic. So I wanted to meet Joseph and say thanks to him.
No, he has not come.
Yeah, in case you call him and tell that I express my thanks to him.
Yeah. Sure, sir.
Okay. Open for questions, please.
Okay. How does the Indian agricultural sector compare to those other major agricultural countries in terms of productivity and sustainability?
See, now there are two things you are asking. See, productivity, we are far behind China. This we have already told. And of course, US and Israel, and of course, they are all smaller players. See, you should not go with the productivity. What is of the Indian agriculture with 640 point whatever million hectares of the agri land? Our cropping intensity is almost 300%. That means we have Kharif, Rabi, and summer. All the trees, if you go to Coimbatore, Dhanlakshmi, you are from Tamil Nadu, the Coimbatore farmers grow 3 crops in a year. So that means if you are having 10 acres, it is as good that you grew it for 30 acres. So that is how the acreage is high. Of course, our productivity is lesser. You can't compare with the other one. But what is required is we have the 60% of the population of India who are farmers, around 700 million in number, who are dependent on agriculture, and then just with agriculture alone, their incomes are not coming. They are not able to satisfy their basic human development index need. What are the 3 human development index need? One is the income, the other one is the health, the third is the education. This they are not able to meet. This is where the farmers' distress in terms of MSP, MIS is coming. And that is where the government has to design a game theory or a game plan.
Okay. What role does technology currently play in Indian agriculture, and what are the barriers to its adoption?
Yeah, see now, today we discussed a lot about agriculture economics, policy, and so on. From the technology point of view, the 124 ICR institutes, 67 agriculture universities, 726 Krishi Vigyan Kendras, okay, around 10,000 farmer producer organization in this country are taking the new technology, and the extension system is transferring the technologies through the commodity interest group, the farm interest group, and the women interest group. And we are already very high in the production. If not the productivity, look at it. 254 million metric tons of horticulture, around 250 million metric tons of agriculture production, with 300% of cropping intensity is not a small joke. Of course, in fisheries, we are very, very high. So when you put all these things, but still what has happened is the GDP contribution of the entire agriculture is abysmally low at around 13%. Whereas our software exports and the service sector, they contribute up to 67% of the GDP. So therefore, agriculture, although in terms of volume, production, and other things are very high, but the contribution as a percentage to the GDP is less. this is where the urban software engineers and the urban sectors are always pampered, and they get a bigger share of the pie, both in terms of investment and also in terms of income and the standard of life. That is where the Pura is going to come into picture, with Abdul Kalam ji told long back, providing urban amenities in the rural areas.
Okay. I'll take up the next question, sir. What recent policies have been implemented to support the agricultural sector, and how effective have they been?
No, you pardon, what role the politicians take, is it?
No. What recent policies, sir?
Policies, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this, I think my friend Dr. Kondape has already, Srinivas has already told you in one of the slides I told you. See, just because there are 60% of the population is in rural area, we cannot take our 48 lakh crore budget and divide it by 60% and directly give that 60% money to the rural areas. This is what Dr. Kondape has been flagging. See, everywhere when an investment is made, it is always the ROI, the return on investment. How much money I will get back? See, for example, we have the National Highway Authority of India. Of course, Gadkari Saab is the present minister. When you put more and more money in the infrastructure, roads, and that internal navigation and waterways, see, they are all going to give you very high returns. See, for example, even if you take the total factor productivity, which is a measure of the return on investment, either it is for research, development, or something, the economist sitting at the Niti Aayog or somebody sitting at the helm of the affairs is not going to say that, we are going to do equality and we will distribute 60% of the money to the rural areas. Of course, that was one of the concerns which Atalji flagged it long back. But today it all goes on how much the returns on investment, whether it is cheaper for me to import or it is cheaper for me to export, or I will do direct benefit transfer to the farmers. This is how they are going to do it. We can't say, see, farmers cannot always say that, I'm having farm distress. So I don't even think that the policies are against farmer as well. So this is what the opposition or anybody who is opposing any policy will take a catch and sit on the road and create a protest. So I told you that this particular session of mine is an apolitical. That means we are not worried about which party comes into power, but everybody, when they sit in power, will have this balancing of these equations to its fullest experiment, especially when you apply things like linear programming and so many other advanced metrics. You can't put every money in one sector. And at the same time, we cannot say that our social causes and our rural development sector is done. We have we have Shobha Madam coming at the, small, medium enterprises. I'll be taking a session for them on the 17th. So every sector will get the funds or the boost based on the returns it's expected to give, and nothing more than that. See, we can't take, today's days are not like the Green Revolution days. Even if you analyze the 7 5-year plans, different priorities have been given in different 5-year plans, just based on the returns on investment and how good we can do for the society, keeping social equality, equity, and so on. Thank you.
Okay. What are the economic implications of current agricultural practices on small and marginal farmers?
See, now, I don't know whether I can make this statement because many of my colleagues of ICR will be hearing and many of my students will be hearing, and they should not get a wrong opinion that their teacher has told like this. See, one thing is the small and marginal farmers have to be supported, number one. Second thing is, if you put them and make them vulnerable for the market forces, they will be forced to leave farming. So indirectly, we are encouraging them to migrate. That should be avoided. Obviously, there are schemes like MG Narega, JRY, or DBT, direct benefit transfer, and hand-holding them. And you were very famously listening to the statements made by many politicians recently in the election campaign. 8,500 rupees aapke khate mein, khatakat. So I don't know whether this Khatakat should help. And I am not blaming XYZ. Kindly don't make me a party to these statements. I am also a viewer like you. I also see on the TV. I don't know whether Khatakat can be done, or you will put money in infrastructure, you will put money in research, or you will put money in the market reforms, or you will put money, I don't know where. I mean, this is a very tricky balance of how you balance your decisions. It's very difficult. See, don't think there are less talented people sitting at the center. Oh my God, half of the ministers are doctorates. We have a big Niti Aayog, extremely brilliant economist. In fact, our Manmohan Singh himself was an economist. Brilliant. I can say nowhere other than in the world you have such a talented policy maker and such a talented politician. Hats off, I should say. In spite of this, the challenges are also enormous for the marginal and small farmers. I think they will have to be protected if you want to keep them in farming. There's no other way. How you protect, I've already given you the various examples and suggestions.
Okay. How can agriculture be made more profitable for farmers, particularly in the face of fluctuating market price and input costs?
See, now this is again, it is like the tongue of a snake. It's always twofold. So, see, one thing is, if you go to any supermarket today, you get a Australian juice, or you get what is that? California apples. You get California almonds. So that is our import policy after liberalization. At the same time, you have produce coming from local areas, which might not be as superior as the California almonds or the apples or the Australian grapes. So in this situation, okay, and don't say that we don't have quality. For example, basmati rice, that is number one in the world. As far as the quality is concerned, milk production, we are number one in the world. But unfortunately, when our fruits and vegetables are put in the export market, either they suffer a rejection because of the high contamination of pesticides or some chemicals as the residues. So therefore, all this which is required is, if you are going to be an exporter, well, the international standards you will have to adhere. Okay? And every time you cannot say that I am growing an inferior crop, therefore give me reservation in XYZ. That is also not a feasible option. So you should be working on two fronts. One is on the productivity front. The second one is on the quality front. And because already there is a glut sort of situation in some commodities, apple, almonds, available all 365 days in the supermarket with very superior quality juice. I'll give you an example of Mala's juice. I think many of you would have drank. Mala's juice comes in lychee flavor, strawberry flavor, and green apple flavor. IAHR also produces the juice. Same 750 ml of the juice of Mala's sells at around 135 rupees. The IAHR juice, when we produce, our production cost, and when I put it in the market, comes to 200 rupees. There is a straight away, okay, a reduction of 70 rupees. So definitely, even although I am an IAHR scientist, I prefer to buy a juice crush or a thing from outside for 135 rupees. Why should I buy it for 200 rupees? Of course, I love IAHR and I'm a very big patriot, so I keep buying. So this is how the international market, the demand and supply is working.
Okay. What strategies can be employed to address the issues of rural poverty and unemployment through agricultural development?
Yeah, see, this we have already answered in one of our slides. Creation of more and more rural jobs. For example, there is a RCT. RCT means Rural Self-Employment Training Institute at every district level. Okay, then you have this district training institutes are there. All vocational trainings and many things are there, especially on rural sanitation, rural health, water, and so many things. So many jobs are being created through this vocational training and so on and so forth. There's a lot of hand holding. The MSME. Okay, one of my students she's a director general of the NIMSME at Hyderabad, Hapsiguda. Okay, National Institute for Medium, Small, Medium, and Enterprises. So they have this IEDS, Indian Enterprise Development Service, just like you have the IAS. So these are all the IAS officers who clear an UPSC exam and the IEDS officer is selected. So I will be training a batch of these officers on the 17th. So lot of these micro enterprises, pitch funding, hand-holding, technology integration, in all fields, the training is given, okay, with a very modest investment, about 5 crores, even in the agri infrastructure fund, for 3% interest, you get this money. But to my dismay and utter surprise, the data reveals that many of them are not sustainable and not able to earn incomes, and they are living away after 3 to 4 years. So even, my friends also conduct a lot of training program for FPOs, entrepreneurship and startup, stand-up and all that. But the percentage of success is only 7%, in spite of such a beautiful ecosystem in the startup, stand-up, entrepreneurship existing in the country today.
Okay, I'll move on to the next question, sir. How can gender disparities in agriculture be addressed to empower women farmers?
See, the disparity is, they see, it is something like this. The more efficient fellow runs more, the more intelligent fellow gets a better job. The IITN gets a much better job. So your income is directly proportional to your achievement motivation and the effort you're going to put. So now the disparity will exist because of lack of entrepreneurship, lack of attitude. Either you don't have a potential, passion, or a purpose of an entrepreneurship or as a startup, stand-up, farmer group, and so on. So definitely, you will have to live with the disparity of income, and equality of income is a myth. See, anywhere in the world, we can only create an opportunity for people to study and become an entrepreneur and so on. Just a minute. So we can only create I keep discussing this with my economics friends as well. So they say that, sir, whether DBT is good or not, that's a very big debatable issue. We can only create an ecosystem by putting more schools, more training programs, more agriinformation.coms, and bringing awareness so that people will be encouraged to come and earn and move in that sort of achievement motivated direction. But definitely disparity will exist. See, today the disparity may be 100 rupees, tomorrow it may be 10 crore rupees. So the disparity is a reality. You will have to absorb this with a pinch of salt. And in Telugu there is a saying, Sameta, Kantakataku Banta. That means when you make a tuft of a leaf or something, whatever is your bundle size, that much money only you will get. If your bundle of coriander leaves is a small one, you get only 10 rupees. If your coriander leaf bundle is a big one, you get 30 rupees. So that is a very reality in any of the mixed economy. And of course, being mixed economy, India is doing both good jobs. We have not done 100% DBT. At the same time, we have put money both in the ecosystem, infrastructure, DBT, and somehow trying to bridge it. But still, what the distressed people want is complete equality. See, definitely there won't be complete equality. The fellow who works less cannot be compared with, what is his name? That Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. You should not say I will have equality with him. That is a myth. Thank you.
Okay. What role does agriculture education and extension services play in shaping the future of Indian agriculture?
Yeah, this is exactly why I accepted your topic for today. See, the extension services has a larger role. See, obviously, the present agri ministry, maybe today they have started, I think in just from 3 months from now, they will come out with a lot of strategic planning, strategic exercises, many policies, okay, and many programs. Already they have given us there was a circular from the Ministry of Agri that what is your 100 days plan? In the next 100 days, what are you going to do? For us, for research, for extension, for all the ministry related people, this question is asked. So we are very busy preparing the action plan for the next 100 years, 100 days. So for the next 100 days, what are your strategies? How many people will you reach? how many tribal farmers will you reach, how many SCSP farmers will reach, what sort of technologies you'll put, which technology is having a better ROI, which technology is having a better total factor productivity. So all my economics friends, we have a large number of them, around 200 working in the ICR system, and under 300, 400 working in the agri university system. So all of them will put, and they will tighten their laces and put their shoes and buckle it up, and they're going to come out with a lot of strategies. And I think this year is going to be a very hectic year for all the extension service people, because many programs are in the offing. Okay, either it's a campaign, it's a frontline demonstration, on-farm trial. My goodness, we have to simply run. We just have to run. We are waiting for that 100 days, and already we are getting circulars from the ministry. The ministry is already on the job. Thank you.
Okay. How can India balance the need for agricultural exports with ensuring food security for its population?
Again, see, Dhanlakshmi madam, this is a very tricky question you've been asking. See, on one hand, food security is for whom? Is it for Dhanlakshmi, Jayaraghavendra Rao, or it is food security for the last mile connectivity person? See, now already in the National Food Security Mission, we have kept 80 million metric tons of food, which is distributed through the public distribution system, PDS. But I am telling you, to my utter dismay, okay, that entire 80 million metric tons is not consumed. It is consumed by insects, weevils, and so on. So, of course, I am not an economist. My economist friends will tell you, and I'll give you some addresses. You can call them next for one of the meetings. See, they will tell you, instead of, the opportunity cost of, putting 80 million metric tons in NFSM go down, in the paying rent for the Food Corporation of India. Look at your opportunity costs and profits and interest on that particular money which is getting locked. Rather, whenever there is a food crisis, direct cash benefit, give them 2,000 rupees, cut. Give them food, call them to your house and give them food. And open already that Anna Bhagya scheme, okay, Indira Canteen, Anna, whatever, so many things. 20 rupees of food is given at a subsidy of 5 rupees. 15 rupees the government bears. What else food security we can give? So definitely by exporting, I don't think, please kindly correct me because I am not an economist and my economist friends and my students are listening. They may attack me in the evening. So already they have told, you finish this meeting, we'll attack you. So therefore, if I am to be taken as Dr. K Jayaraghavendra Rao, I think you can reduce. Of course, the Niti Aayog will think whether you should put 80 million metric tons there, or you can give food coupons, or you bring that MG Narega, Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, simply give them food coupons. That's all. Of course, direct benefit transfer, my friend Dr. Kondapi has told, it might get converted to alcohol. So I'm not sure about it. So give them food coupons. Let them take the food coupon, go to Annapurna canteen, have a sumptuous food and work. I think that should be a good option. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank Dr. K Jayaraghavendra Rao for the talk and for answering the question. This meeting will now be closed.
Okay, thank you, Dhanlakshmi, agriinformation.com.
You're most welcome,
Hope
sir.
to meet you again. Next time we'll
Sure.
plan a panel discussion with economists and extension people. Okay, we will shape that and we'll hope we'll do it. Thank you. I leave the meeting now. So nice.
Okay, sir. Okay. Bye-bye.